What's cracking, guys? Omar Isaf here, back with another video. In this video today, I'm adapting a phenomenal article by a man, Andy Morgan is his name. He has a website, Ripped Body. It's all about the most influential factors when it comes to trying to build muscle. It's a list, it's a hierarchy. Number 1 is going to be the most important. When we get to number 8, it's the least important. I'm going to break this down. Some things we can definitely influence, some things that we can't. I made videos before kind of about tips, obviously building muscle, but this is a hierarchy. This is kind of everything. I'm going to briefly go over every single point, so hopefully this video is less than 10 minutes. We'll see what we got. For further information, check out the article. But let's break this down. 1 would be either drug use dash your genetics. This should be fairly obvious. If you take 2 individuals with completely different genetics, make them eat the same amount, make them train the same routine, lift the same amount of weight, if their genetics, if one has superior genetics in every single way, so that just means they have more favorable genetics in terms of building muscle, they will build a lot more muscle than the other person. Genetics plays a huge role, and I know this sucks to hear, but this is simply the truth. Some people will have better physiques than others. Some people will get stronger faster than others. That's okay. The race you're running is individual. It only depends upon you. It's you versus you, bro. So who cares about that? But that is the most important if you want to break it down, right? We talk also about drugs. People sometimes say, and this is a topic for a whole other video, they'll say like, oh, drugs don't do the work. You got to do the work. Actually, there's a study that took a look at 3 different populations. They took a look at people that didn't lift, people that lifted, and then people then that used drugs. I believe it's just testosterone, and didn't lift at all. So someone that used drugs didn't lift, and someone that lifted. The person that used drugs and did not lift built more muscle, and actually, I believe, this one I could be wrong, got stronger in the bench press than the person that actually lifted naturally. So when we say, some people say that drugs actually don't do the work, they definitely do. On top of that, you have a major work ethic and that'll have a huge influence. But 1 would be genetics, things outside of your control. Number 2 would be eating enough calories, your caloric intake. This one should be fairly obvious. I made videos before how, if you're trying to lose weight, if you're a newbie, there are ways that you can build muscle, lose fat at the same time. You won't optimize either, but you can build a little bit of muscle while losing a little bit of weight. But if you're past this beginner phase, your body needs enough energy in order to have the tools necessary to build more muscle. If you don't, you will not be optimizing how much muscle you build. You need to be in a caloric surplus. Don't hear this and think automatically eat whatever the fuck you want. I mean being in a 200 to 300 calorie surplus per day consistently. That's another key component I need to stress. Consistently being in this surplus will allow you to create the proper environment for muscular growth. So being in a surplus long term is very important. I talked before, like I said, about newbie gains and things like that, but if you're past that newbie stage, being in a long-term caloric surplus, slight caloric surplus, is the second biggest factor. 3, you're training. Appropriate training stimulus to force adaptation. When you train, you basically want to force your body to adapt to what you're giving it. As you're getting stronger, as you're lifting more weight, your body can't stay the same. It has to adapt to this new threat. It views what you're doing. It's like, you know what? Like this guy's actually, he's training really hard. He's forcing us. He's giving us new threats that are more challenging. I better adapt by building more muscle. That's essentially what happens. So if you just go to the gym and fuck around, if you just do your normal 3x10, if you constantly use just the 25s to do curls, you're not going to be building muscle optimally. You won't be building as much muscle as you could. Eventually, you'll just straight up plateau because you're not introducing anything new. This is where strength is a really good parameter for natural athletes to gauge how they're doing in the gym. If you're getting stronger, you're forcing your body ultimately to adapt because you're throwing bigger and harder challenges over time. So your training should be in such a way that it's forcing your body to try and change in a positive direction. So pushing the volume, pushing the frequency, pushing the total amount of weight you're lifting. So let's talk about intensity then. You could throw that in there. Are all key components then influencing your muscular growth. 4, sufficient protein intake. This one I have talked about in length on this channel. In fact, I'm going to link Eric Helms, the video he did for my channel where he breaks this down. It's a 12-minute video. But you need enough protein. There's a debate, what does that mean, optimal amount of protein intake, and some people go on the lower end of the spectrum. Guys like Eric Helms would say roughly, if you're lean, 1 gram per pound of lean body weight or 1 gram per pound of body weight is a good catch-all. It's a safe estimate for most individuals out there. You want to make sure that you're consuming enough protein so you're in a favorable condition for your body in order to build muscle. 5, enough sleep. I talked about this before. I actually also made a video on this. I said that sleep, getting a good night's sleep, is better than any legal supplement out there. Why? Because there's a whole bunch of hormones, there's a whole bunch of things going on when you sleep. That's when your body recovers. It's when your hormones, everything kind of gets EQ'd for the next day. If you're not sleeping optimally, they've actually taken a look at sleep deprivation in general. If you're getting, let's say, 5 hours of sleep versus 8 hours of sleep, things like your cognitive ability, your ability to focus, so just even in the gym, the ability for you to focus, the ability for you to expend a lot of energy, to train really hard, it's all diminished. So really, a good night's sleep is superior to most supplements that you see out there that you can buy legally, and it's something very much in your control. How much should you aim to sleep? I know you guys are busy. If you can get 7 to 8 hours of sleep consistently, and we talked about that circadian rhythm before, about trying to normalize when you sleep, when you wake up, will have a huge impact in terms of how much you can recover, how much energy you have, how much focus you have in the gym. So sleep actually is something that does not get talked about often enough because it's kind of a given, right? Yeah, you should sleep, but how much? Sleep more probably than you currently are. Aim for 8 hours. 6, stress or the management of stress, the minimization of it. There's acute stress, there's chronic stress. Everybody's got stress, right? You got problems, you got financial problems, you got school problems, you got work problems, you got girl problems, you got a whole lot of problems. Cool. I got 99 problems, but calves ain't one. The thing is, when it comes to stress, everybody has it. It's how you deal with it. Some people are better at dealing with stress. Training itself is a stress on your body. That's why you ever wonder why this has happened to me before, where I was actually at the university, I was studying for an exam, I was working a lot, a whole bunch of stuff, and then I decided to go for a PR. I ended up getting sick. Training is a stress, so if you don't manage everything else, it doesn't create the proper environment for your body to grow. In fact, it can have a detrimental impact on your health where you just get tired, you feel kind of sore, achy all the time, motivation kind of languishes. Those are all factors that are influenced by the amount of stress that you have. That's kind of just your whole attitude, the way you look at things. And so if I had to recommend something, recommend a book, I talked about this before, Marcus Aurelius, Stoicism, the letters from a Stoic. Seneca would be another one. Seneca would be another person definitely to read. I'll link those in the description, but just the proper mindset, because like I said before, everybody has stress. It's how you deal with it ultimately. So we're talking about the minimization or the management of stress. 7, body fat percentage. I talked about this before, but this is why I'm against the folk. The forever bulk does not make sense, bro. Say no to it. Say no. The bulk can be bad because we talk about your P ratio, your partition ratio. When you consume calories, once again, where does it go? Does it go towards building muscle or does it go towards storing fat? The fatter you are, the higher the likelihood it'll just go towards storing even more fat. The law of leanness applies. You want to stay as lean as possible for as long as possible. So anything less than 18% would be a good idea. More preferable would be anything less than 15% body fat. So if you can aim for anything less than that, maybe around 10 to 15% is the majority of your lean mass phase. That would be most preferable because once again, the leaner you are when you consume calories, that P ratio, it's more favorable towards building muscle. 8, lastly, everything else you've heard about. So macronutrients, yeah. Mealtime, once you have your protein figured out, your carbohydrate to fat ratio, it's important, but not as important as these other factors. So macronutrients, meal timing, supplements, where you get your calories from, all these things, these all are bunched towards number 8, what you do. So these other factors, these top 7 before, your genetics, your training, the calories you're consuming, your protein intake, all those other things, they're vastly more important than things like meal timing or, once again, your ratio between the macronutrients, your carbohydrate and fat intake, or the supplements that you take. If you look at the fitness industry, they kind of got it twisted around. You got to take this supplement and it'll boost muscle growth. Hell no, dude. Getting a good night's sleep is critical, more important than those other factors. Trying to hit a deadlift PR when you've had 0 hours of sleep isn't a sound idea. 8 would be everything else. So think about it. I listed 7 other factors. 8 represents everything else, and that's where it is. It's dead last. So focus on those first 7. If you nail all those, steps 1 through 7, then you could go on to step 8. Then you can consider things like, the macronutrients, meal timing, and ultimately the supplements you consume. Guys, I hope this video broke it down in terms of the order of importance, the hierarchy when it comes to trying to build muscle. Really, when it comes down to it, there are a lot of things that you can influence. There's some things you can't influence, but it's all about trying to build the best possible body for yourself. That's, in the end, all you could hope for. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked the video, I'm looking right at you. Else, what are we going for?
12,000.
12,000 likes. Let's get it. I'm looking at you, bro. Do you believe we're gonna get it?
Fuck no.
What? Why would you say that?
Because I want to be proven wrong.
Oh, he wants to be Else wants to be proven wrong. 12,000 likes. I'm also linking in the description for those that want to read more. It's a long article, but a really good article. Check it out. Link is in the description. I'll be seeing all you guys, my rascals, in that next video. Peace.